Trump is sure having one. He's sending email after email saying, President Biden's dropping out. Have you heard? President Biden dropped out. Keep dreaming that, Donald Trump, because President Biden is about to clean your clock again in the upcoming election. Just take a look at what Donald Trump is sending over and over again in emails to his supporters. Again, I am a member of this listserv, so you don't have to. Donald Trump goes, Biden is dropping out. That's the subject line. Alert from Trump. Joe Biden is dropping out of the race. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. It can happen at any moment. Okay, keep dreaming that, Donald Trump. He then also writes the following. If you've ever voted for me, I need you to read this. And then it says, from the desk of Donald J. Trump. Before I do anything else, I had to get this off my chest. I love Ben like family. I truly mean it. I say that it's your support that's keeping me going. To be completely honest, without Ben, America would never have survived the last 4 years. Indictments, hoaxes, and witch hunts. My biggest Trump rally blitz of the year kicks off right now. By the way, that's the same time we've learned that Donald Trump is now working with Billy McFarland, who ran Fyre Festival, to help introduce him to rappers so that Donald Trump can, in his mind, appeal to the black community through rappers from Billy McFarland, who was actually prosecuted by the DOJ when Donald Trump was in office. By the way, if you've ever seen the Fyre Festival doc, back in the day when I was a practicing lawyer, I filed the class action against Fyre Festival and brought the litigation against them. So I know a few things about that case. And if you remember, there was actually a line I gave in the doc back then where I said that Donald Trump was running the White House the way the Fyre Festival was being run. Also, here's another message from Donald Trump. Black eye, you never left my side. It said, this was at 1:45 a.m. This is what Donald Trump writes. My rigged conviction is a black eye on America. But even on the darkest day in American history, you never left my side. So now that my sentencing has been delayed, I'm giving you a limited edition Trump black card. Here it is, the metal black card. It's black, it's metal, and it's etched with my mugshot. I mean, folks, I know the media wants to normalize this behavior and act like this is how leaders of political parties should act. It's black, it's metal, it's etched with my mugshot. Meanwhile, President Biden is putting the final touches on a summit that he's hosting with NATO today and tomorrow and throughout this week. President Biden has made the NATO alliance stronger than ever before. That's an alliance that Donald Trump wants to destroy. Also, in terms of the Biden campaign, in addition to making about 18 separate campaign stops and visits over the past few days, while Donald Trump has remained just kind of wandering and meandering at his various golf courses, sending these weird posts and apparently being consulted by Billy McFarland to meet with rappers like Chef G and Sleepy Hollow. I wonder if Billy made that introduction, who are purportedly, according to an indictment, leaders in the Crips gang, who have been charged with 12 attempted murders and 1 murder. I guess they all say birds of a feather flock together. Seems like Donald Trump just always hangs out with criminal after criminal, but President Biden spending millions more on political ads than Donald Trump. If you take a look at even the political action committee spending by the Biden campaign, they've basically reserved all airtime on all the swing states during the key months, methodically running a campaign. Also, here's what the President Biden has now put on buses that's going to go throughout the Milwaukee area. Restore Roe, vote for Joe, get real Jack, I'm bringing Roe back. Get on board, folks. We're lowering prescription drug costs. Social Security cuts, try me. Social Security cuts, try me. President Biden just getting out in front of voters while Donald Trump continues just to get out in front of his golf course. Also some powerful members of Congress, or powerful responses by members of Congress. just going out and going on the offense. Democratic Congress member Auchincloss using every opportunity to hit Republicans and Trump during his interview on Fox. Fox was not ready for this. Big kudos to Congressmember Auchincloss, Democrat here. Play the clip.
That race is a lot closer. So would it be better to put up a different candidate?
The most important polling is Americans' opinions about Donald Trump. He's historically unpopular, and for good reason, because they saw what the disaster of his first term was. And we know that there are Haley voters in the heartland who are desperate to vote for anybody besides Trump. And we have to have a message of law and order to appeal to those voters. I mean, the Republicans are trying to defund the FBI. They're nominating a convicted felon. They're trying to surge machine guns onto our streets and in our schools. This is not a party that respects the rule of law.
Yeah, with respect, Congressman, I mean, I keep asking about Joe Biden. You keep talking about Donald Trump. But there are
because the questions about Joe Biden are questions about who can beat Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is the threat to democracy right now.
Do you really think Joe Biden can beat Donald Trump? Or would Kamala Harris be a better person to do that? Would Gavin Newsom be a better person to do that? Do you think after that debate performance, this is the guy you want running for president?
Every one of those names that you just mentioned could beat Donald Trump. And the reason why is because Donald Trump is unpopular. He's actually probably the most unpopular national politician of modern American history, because voters don't want to see their tax returns have a little partisan affiliation box they have to check next year. They don't want their Social Security checks to come with strings attached. They don't want forced deportations of their friends and their neighbors who are trying to become American citizens. They don't want to see him supplicating himself in front of Vladimir Putin like he did in 2018.
Right, but there are a lot of Democratic and independent voters who want to see somebody with the mental competence to run, and increasingly they don't think that's Joe Biden.
The opinion of Pennsylvanians, of Michigans, of Wisconsinites is absolutely vital. Don't disagree with you there. And that is going to be the challenge ahead of the top of the Democratic ticket, is to make a strong and sharp contrast against what Donald Trump is offering. This is not just about the past and about the record of accomplishments. This is about the future as well. And Democrats have a much more compelling vision of the future than MAGA Republicans do. We want an economy that works for everyone. We don't want this next tax bill to reward the wealthy and the well-connected. We want to defend and enhance U.S. global leadership. And that's going to resonate with voters. But yes, we need strong communicators for it.
Then you had Democratic Senator Warner, who was like trying to behind the scenes organize opposition against President Biden. Democratic senator from Virginia. I think when he realized the base has rallied behind President Biden, he's backed out of doing that. Watch the moment that took place.
Breaking news coming into CNN. A source familiar with Virginia Senator Mark Warner's thinking tells me that the private meeting that he was trying to organize for tomorrow with other Democratic senators to discuss a path forward as it pertains to Biden and his campaign, that's no longer happening. The source tells me the purpose of this private meeting with other Senate Democrats tomorrow was to get them on the same page about the future of President Joe Biden's candidacy. But after it leaked out to several media outlets, including CNN, it was scrapped.
Also, you have the White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, pushing back against the press when they were whining that Donald Trump spoke to them more than President Biden. And Karine Jean-Pierre's like, yeah, we know what he said to you, like inject bleach, that he wouldn't agree to a transition of power. That's what you want here. Play the clip.
What they have done. To be more clear, George W. Bush and also President Obama. So we've been.
One did let his donors come to the briefing room to speak to us.
Okay, and we know what that last president said from this briefing room. Okay, so and only did three or four paragraphs. Very different approach.
President Biden, again, Donald Trump doing nothing. President Biden calls in to Morning Joe, and here's what he has to say. Play this clip.
Chance, number one. Number two, remember all this talk about how I don't have the black support? Come on, give me a break. Come with me. Watch. I'm getting so frustrated by the elites. Now, I'm not talking about you guys, but about the elites in the party who they know so much more. But if any of these guys don't think I should run against me, go ahead, announce for president. Challenge me at the convention. You know, on Europe, the polls are wrong in France. They're also right. There's no right wave or tide here in America either. By the way, in case you're wondering whether there is one, have you ever seen Trump run away so fast from what he's for? You know he's going to do it anyway, but he's such a liar. This guy, everybody knows what they're planning to do.
Find it interesting too that if you go to MAGA media, I guess Fox, CNN, MSNBC, other than Morning Joe and maybe one other show, is basically all becoming MAGA media. But anyway, you turn to Fox, they have Kevin McCarthy, who got ousted by his own party. He's spending his time attacking the minority leader for the Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries. Watch this, play this clip.
What do you predict Hakeem Jeffries, House Minority Leader, does in this moment?
Hakeem hates to make a decision. He'll never make a fast decision. He's doing exactly what he normally does, nothing. You know, there's two types of leaders. You're either a thermometer or a thermostat. A thermostat can tell you the temperature and change it. Hakeem's a thermometer. He sits and lets the caucus decide where to go. And that's
just to see how desperate the MAGA Republicans are. They know that President Biden's the strongest candidate the Democrats have, and that President Biden's going to continue to methodically campaign and going to defeat Trump. So Trump's got a new spokesperson by the name of Caroline Sunshine. She says that Democrats should just concede the election now, back out right now. That shows a great degree of confidence by them. Here, by the way, is what Chuck Todd had to say. It's with characters. Aren't they just becoming so increasingly pathetic? Chuck Todd goes, Biden's anger at elites is a bit misplaced. Without the elites, he needs us. Without the elites, he would have had a serious primary foe. Without the elites, the no labels effort would have a compelling ticket. Arguably, it's the elites who put much faith in Biden that got the Dems in this position. Talk about getting high on your own supply, Chuck Todd. What I love about this moment, though, is that the American people aren't dumb. Sure, there's maybe 30 to 35% embedded in the MAGA cult, the type of people who wear t-shirts that say, I'm voting for a convicted felon, the people who are showing up inexplicably wearing diapers to Donald Trump's event to show support with Donald Trump, diapers over Dems. I mean, you got, the people who are out there, wearing, the weird Trump shirts, the weird Trump chains, but Americans don't want drama. And no matter how much the media wants to tell us that things are horrible now, we remember what it was like under Donald Trump when we couldn't get toilet paper. We remembered, like Donald Trump in the media, well, there was less inflation. There was a mass pandemic. There wasn't things happening. People were dying in mass back then. And Donald Trump is the reason for inflation. Like, why don't you do a modicum of diligence and say, well, what could be the source of inflation? I don't know. Maybe it's when you recklessly print money and you increase the deficit more than anybody in the history of America, the way Donald Trump did, and then just give out money to billionaires and to do tax cuts that you can't pay for. Maybe, just maybe, it has an impact that has to be fixed. And by the way, don't take my word for it. Take the Republicans' word for it. Here's what they got to say about Trump causing inflation. Play this clip.
And think about it. A debt ceiling is like giving your child a credit card and they charge the limit all the way up. Would you just raise the limit? No. You would sit down.
Well, if it meant playing with America's standing and full faith and credit of U.S. government debt, I feel like you can deal with the spending in other ways, which is totally legitimate.
So if you just raise the debt ceiling, do you think $31 trillion of debt? The CBO has come out in the next 10 years. Do you know we'll pay 10.5?
You did it 3 times in the Trump administration.
As we did economic changes. We never raised the debt ceiling by itself.
But the tax cuts, that was like $2 trillion in deficit.
Posting. This race is about our freedom. It's about our democracy. It's about the very soul of America. Are we prepared to fight for that? I know I am, and I know I will. And so what America do you want? You want to wake up with Donald Trump reposting QAnon memes like he did yesterday, or reposting QAnon accounts, death cult accounts, which if you just did a Google search on what the QAnon believes, they claim that Donald Trump's going to hold mass executions on Capitol Hill of the deep state if he gets back into power. So Trump reposts them. Not a peep from the media. You don't hear anything about the media. The Epstein files get released. Donald Trump's name is all over them last week. You don't hear a peep from the media. It's okay. When it comes to, as long as you show up and you mock us, then go ahead, be a sexual assaulter and a convicted felon and be in the Epstein files and lead insurrections and say you're going to be a dictator and post QAnon and change the words to the national anthem and replace it with the J6 choir song. Just go and do all of that as long as you show up occasionally in front of us and demean us because we love the drama. But meanwhile, President Biden lead a stable economy with no drama, record job growth, record low unemployment, 40,000 infrastructure projects. Let me just show you this clip of President Biden on Morning Joe. Play this clip.
Time is more extreme. He makes George Wallace look like a patriot.
President Joe Biden, let's make this a thing. Thank you for calling in. We really appreciate it. And thank you for answering our questions.
If you're willing to hear from me, I'm willing to talk to you. Thank you very much.
We will take it on a regular basis.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President. Greatly appreciated.
President Joe Biden.
Reverend Al, obviously, the New York Times has called you one of the most important voices in the Democratic Party. You're obviously one of the most important voices, if not the most important person in the civil rights movement. You heard the president.
And as President Biden says, I've never been more optimistic about the future of our country. Take a look at that. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million subscribers together. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.